Good evening, everyone.
Welcome you for this webinar on AI-enabled IT support services for better employee productivity across all functions, including HR. So it's a very long title, as you can see that. And the reason it's a long title is because we wanted to cover as much as possible from a functions point of view. So I am Kumar. I head the South India business of CMS IT services. And I would like to formally welcome you all for this webinar. So let me just move to the next slide. Kunal, if you can just move it to the next slide, please. So just a brief in terms of what topics we are going to cover. Basically, we are going to explain about what CMS IT services is all about, and then I give you the perspectives on end user automation, chatbot for different functions, how automation can be implemented for DC and network, and what are the key takeaways, and then followed by the Q&A. So please move to the next slide, Kunal. Yeah. So CMS IT services as an organization has been in the industry for more than 4 decades. So what I try to say over here is we have seen the industry, we have seen how the IT industry has evolved, and we have been with the thick and thin of the situations in terms of being with the customers. So we have seen how customers have faced different problems, how they have been able to overcome the problems, what kind of problems will we come across from an IT point of view. And at the same time, we are as agile as a startup. When I'm saying as agile as a startup, I just wanted to reiterate the point that as a separate entity, as a separate organization, we got registered some 7 years back. So what we bring you is a fusion of legacy of 4+ decades and a fusion of agility as being agile as a startup. We have around 7,000 plus employees working for us, which means that every nook and corner of the country can be supported by us. We are having 220 locations which is being supported by us, and we have more than 300 large programs which are running across. So the biggest differentiator what we bring to the table is we believe in personalized attention. We always feel that each customer requirements are unique. The way we need to treat a banking customer might not be the same the way in which you treat an IT company, or the way in which you handle a retail customer might not be the same. And even in a banking, the way you approach a private sector bank versus a public sector bank can be different. A small bank versus a large bank can be different because the requirements are different. What is expected out of the customer is different. So that is what we bring to the table as an organization. With that, I'll move to the next slide. Yeah, so CMS IT services as an organization is possibly the only organization in India which covers the complete landscape of IT. When I'm talking about a landscape of IT, if you look at a typical life cycle of IT, it starts with consulting. When somebody decides to set up IT, it starts with consulting. He decides what is that application he wants to have, what is the hardware he wants to have, etc. So life cycle of IT starts with consulting, moves on into system integration, into products supply, into AMC, into managed services, and then of course application development, application maintenance, etc. So as an organization, we cover the complete life cycle of IT. So what it means to you is you don't have to interface with multiple partners. You have one partner who can be a trusted partner for you, who can be working with you for any requirements, whether it's a product purchase, or whether it's a system integration, or whether it's a consulting opportunity, or it's an application development, or whatever. At the same time, we are also into the next generation offerings, whether it is transformational offerings of IT automation, or robotic process automation, or digital transformation, etc. So we can help you transform your IT with the help of some of your transformational next generation offerings, and at the same time we can make it more secure using our defensible cyber security offering. So while I do not want to cover all these things in detail, the focus on this session will be towards IT automation. Now, at the same time, I also wanted to tell you, as an organization, we are going through a phase where we have been getting a lot of awards. In the last 3 months, there have been so many awards which we have got, which is a recognition of the kind of work that we have been doing. We have been rated as the best enterprise application partner by Indian Express Group. We were rated as a top emerging RPA providers by CIO review, and we were also rated as a best one amongst the best partners by Automation Anywhere amongst the partner awards. So these are just a glimpse of some of the awards what we have received only in this quarter, which goes on to highlight the fact that we are working closely with our customers and we are helping them transform their IT landscape. With that, let us get into the subject of automation. Right? We are going through a scenario where we are going through a pandemic situation, right? We started off somewhere in March, right? The situation has been we have been going through a lot of problems, right? Everybody has gone through a lot of problems. When I'm saying everyone, I'm talking about individuals, organization, customers, partners, vendors, etc. The problems have been different, problems have been unique, but everywhere in the problem there has also been a learning. What is the biggest learning what one would have taken is how to avoid personal dependencies, and that is what we are going to achieve through automation, which is what we are going to cover in detail as we move forward. So there are so many use case studies which we can talk about when we talk about automation. But I wanted to talk about something which is a day-to-day scenario where we come across a situation which you would have encountered, most of you would have encountered. I'll give a classic example of what we have seen in my own house. So when the lockdown was at its peak, possibly I think it was called as lockdown 1.0 or whatever, right? There were no shops available, no retail stores available, nobody was allowed to travel, etc. At that point of time, we had an issue of a washing machine not working. So that was also a scenario where maids were also not allowed in certain flats, etc. Right? So the challenge, what happens is you don't have any shop. So we still managed to get some technicians to come and see if the problem can be sorted out. And the feedback from the local technician was it cannot be sorted out. Now, what are the options that we have? One is to replace a washing machine. How can I replace a washing machine if I don't have any stores available? So that option is ruled out. Or take the help of a maid, but if maids are not allowed, that is also ruled out. So imagine a situation where a washing machine is not working and you have to live with it for another month or so. That is the time where we contacted the service center of the concerned washing machine service provider, and they told us, they regretted us that they cannot send a technician, but at the same time they told us they can support us. They said we will come into a chat with you, we will guide you, so we'll be supporting you over a phone, and there are some workarounds which can be done. They were asking us what is the errors that we are undergoing. We had to tell them what were the errors which was being thrown, and accordingly they were giving us a lot of examples how to overcome that particular situation. And end of the day, after some 20 minutes of discussion with them, by having them live with us, we were able to manage the situation and we got a workaround solution with which we were able to make the washing machine work. So just imagine this particular situation. This is a classic example of how automation or a chatbot can help improve things, improve services or for any industry, right? So this, whatever discussion I had explained, could have also happened through a chatbot, right? Had there been a chatbot, the same thing could have happened without even a person. Through the chatbot, all these solutions could have been tried and we would have got a solution out of it. And had this not happened, the impact is you are living without a washing machine, you're living without a maid for a period of 1 month, and it can create a lot of big mess. This is just one example. Now let us look at it from an industry point of view. So if you are looking at the industry, if you're talking to the persons who are at IT head or a CIO or a business head, etc., you would have noticed that amongst all the industries which are impacted during lockdown, the one industry which was very highly impacted was retail. Right? A lot of customers in retail gave a feedback that they were severely impacted because of lockdown. But at the same time, there was few organizations within the retail industry who did very well. The fact that they were able to do very well was also depending on the kind of tools and technologies they had adopted. The organization which said that they have been able to do well, in fact, some of them were even going to the extent of saying that their business had increased compared to what it was during the pre-lockdown situation. The only reason was they had embraced technology. They were using digital and they had chatbots, etc., for helping them enhance their sales. So, like that, there can be several case studies which can be talked about when we talk about how IT automation can help. And this automation can help across all functions, whether it is sales, whether it is HR, whether it is finance, or anything for that matter. So that is why we thought this is the right topic to have a discussion today. And with that, I would request Kunal Bhatt to take over the session. Kunal is the head of practice for automation. Over to you, Kunal.
Thank you, Kumar. Thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone on the call. So, as Kumar said, I see it a perfect example of the washing machine where it is partially self-help, a partial self-heal kind of an activity that happened collaboratively with the service provider and the user. And as Kumar rightly said, the environment has forced digital adoptions or alternative mechanisms and methods of delivering services or accepting services in the industry. So on the screen you can see, we are talking about IT service delivery, and while we'll restrict our discussion further to the IT service delivery, how is the delivery services faring in the market? What are the contentions? And like every coin has two sides, here also if you see there's a user agony. Users have certain challenges. They are not happy with the IT support desk, saying that we need to wait very much for the IT services to come up to respond to us. They don't know who I am, because a lot of times we have to ask the customer his information, his credentials, his data. The user, and while the call is moved from one support desk to another support desk, the problem has to repeat it. And while I say this is an IT related problem, this is a generic customer support related problem also. And you know this kind of situation, when I look at from the engineer or the service desk perspective, they also have their certain challenges, that they have multiple applications which are running in the users arena to be dealt with. They need to at times not, if they are not able to respond to the customer because the customer said a problem was ABC and the problem came out to be something else, they have to move the user from one desk to another. So virtually they have to move the user's call from one person to another. And everything is manual, and this was the situation, or this is still a situation at certain places. While the adoption of automation and the tools is there, because of the restrictions of COVID and not having structured business processes, lot of customers are still facing this as a problem. So I will take one step further into this slide across and give you some statistics that we have analyzed out. How the users see IT services. 76% of users say service desk do not understand the problem at the first instance. 55% of users say they don't get the best of the response from the service desk. 82% users feel it is very slow. The response, the way the service desk operates is very slow. 68% of users feel that the measuring of qualifying services is a challenge. The way they are qualifying the services, or that they are qualifying the calls and the requirement is a challenge for them. Now, these are user challenges. If you look from the IT perspective, 70% of the engineers or the IT support staff say that the users are not able to articulate the problem correctly. And we don't blame the user for that. You know, for him, a machine not working or a website not working is a website not working. He will never be able to figure out whether it's a network glitch or a glitch at the server where the website is hosted or what. He is just saying that my system is not working. 54% of the tickets need follow up in scheduling, and this has been increasing with this COVID time. It has gone up to around 75 to 80%, where there is multiple follow ups required for scheduling a response to the ticket. 46% of users are not aware about the processes that are laid down in the organization which are related to IT or the businesses. And 78% of users do not want to try new age solutions. As Kumar gave the wonderful example of he doing the willingness of trying what the service support team of the washing machine company were telling him. He took up that willingness, he took up that alternate mechanism. But the industry statistics says 78% of users are not willing to do such kind of a research or such kind of an activity on behalf of the IT support guys. They say that you please come and resolve the problem. Now this is where we stand across, and that's where the automation kicks in. The key automation that we speak of starts kicking in across. So when we are talking about the service desk, and service desk has evolved over the expanse of the IT support arena over the last couple of decades, from a help desk where it was a standard support response activity. People will sit on the call. What is the problem? I'll send an engineer. Discussion is over. They will just log the ticket, give the ticket to an engineer to resolve it. They will help the engineers to coordinate with the vendors for doing a break fix or a spare replacement or things like that. Now that was a very limited scope. That scope slowly increased where they started doing the L1 level of identification of problems. They used to interact with users, understand the user's problem, and at least bucketize the tickets on an L1 level. They used to do the knowledge management that this kind of ticket, this is the resolution, this kind of ticket, this is the response, or this is the team who can respond to it. Kind of the self-help that Kumar spoke of, helping the users that can you please click on this icon. Someone is saying my temp folder is full. He'll just say that can you open up the browser, go to the temp folder in Windows folder, do this kind of supporting activity. And collaboration with multiple teams and IT processes. That's where service desk started gaining power in doing that. And if you look at the new age service desk, what we call up the automated delivery center. First thing is automated ticket creations and ticket updations. A service desk should not be an engineer or a human should not be doing the ticket creation and ticket allocation on behalf of a user. Once the user talks to any of the tools, and I will see what tools are we talking about. That tools in backend when they are integrated with the ITSM solution, they should create a ticket on their own. The tools like chatbot, self-help, self-heal should be are promoted. Our users are coached on how to use that. They are being told how to use that. There's a predictive support which is being given across. Now, when predictive support is another critical function that I can, and again, I'll, I don't want to, but I still wish that the Kumar's examples relevant. The washing machine would have kept on giving that specific error before it failed. So it was predicting its failure. It was telling what is happening. It keeps on blinking. Our car keeps on blinking lot of indicators when it is going down. All these machines are capable of giving predictions. So is the computer, so is the laptop and desktop capable of giving the prediction. But it gives prediction in its own sweet language, which a general user can't understand. So the IT support team is equipped with tools which can understand those predictions, pick the cues from the prediction and say what is the potential failure that is going to happen. And with all this added, integrated with the current business processes, with the updated business processes, helps the service desk deliver more power to the users. And that's where the user experience will start flowing in. That's where the users productivity will start improving. And just just to add to this, I will move to the next slide and show you how we are talking about the delivery.
Kunal, you'll have to be a bit more audible.
Okay, sure. Uh, is this better, Kumar?
Yeah, it is better now.
Sure, thank you. So here, when we are saying a new age delivery, the general service desk or a help desk was where a user used to go to a service desk, log a ticket or call up them and ask them that, this is the support I need. This gentleman sitting here would put it to the remote support desk or give it to an on-site and an on-call engineer to support. What are we doing differently in this environment to make this whole system the automated delivery center? We are adding up a layer between the user and a service desk, which is the self-service or a self-help layer, which has chatbots into it, self-help, self-service portals into it, and a or a predictive analytics engine in the layer between the user and the service desk. And what do we mean by this? When the user is having a problem, he will talk to the chatbot. The moment he talks to the chatbot will understand his problem, whatever the user is describing. give a resolution to the user basis of the understanding of the problem. The user says that I am not able to connect to my VPN. The bot will talk to the self-heal portal, give him an executable file or give him a response, say that run this file, your VPN problem should get resolved. He's saying I need a support from the HR. Now this bot can be a omni-channel bot wherein the same bot can talk to the HR uh, function, can talk to the administrative function, can talk to the IT support function. The bot is an omni-channel bot, and that's where the beauty of the bot comes into play. Whatever problem, it will talk to the relevant back-end business process systems and give the user a response. The user also can use the limited functionalities of a mobile bot to communicate in the similar fashion with multiple tools. So whenever the user talks to this bot, the bot will pick that data up, understand, give him a resolution, and parallelly, when the problem is getting resolved, after that it will take the user feedback that are you satisfied with the response. The user says yes, no, basis of that it will again ask that do you want to log in service ticket for it. If he says I'm not satisfied, it will ask for a service ticket registration. The user says yes, it will go and log a ticket in the ITSM tool with a status as open for the service desk or the remote team to address it. If he says I'm satisfied with the response, that bot will log a ticket with the service desk tool as a closed status ticket. Now that's the beauty of it. The service desk team doesn't even need to pick up the phone or look at their screens for upcoming calls. They just have to focus on the status open calls and start addressing them. So I will move to the next function, next way how it works, just to explain you in detail. So here, if you look at the bottom of the screen, there is a problem that happens in the user environment, the service desk RIM. This is the flow that generally happens. How are we minimizing this flow here? When the user is working, there's a backend engine working with an AI, NLP, ML into it, which captures all the data of the intent of the work that is happening on the machine, captures the context of activity that is happening. It helps the user create a dialogue with the system across, and the system can take an preventive action onto the problem that is occurring across. Now, this all are part of the cognitive capability of the environment. And in a very matured environment where all these functionals are running perfectly, 85% of service desk tasks, up to 50% of RIM support tasks can be eliminated. They will not come to the service desk, but the automated engines will take care of it. It will showcase the forensic reports where what is down, which system, what environment, what is getting impacted. Now, when we are talking about such kind of a response and resolution mechanism, the first thing that comes up is the MTTR reduction. In a standard scenario, a standard S3 or a service ticket of level 3 is kind of a 2 hours response, 6 hours, 4 hours resolution. That work is only of 5 to 7 minutes in the user's desk environment. If the bot with help of the self-service tool is able to do that in that 3 to 5 minutes of time, the user is literally saving at least 2 hours of his productive time. And that's where the MTTR reduction comes into play. So the whole impact of the automation adoption is first is MTTR reduction, second is the SLA improvement that comes in. And with this all, what do we get? We get the visibility into the environment, how the environment is faring, what applications are running. So you'll see some red and green dots here, which application is giving a problem, which application is running fine, which location is getting impacted. You'll get all those intelligence coming in from the system. What is the score of the system? How many users are satisfied? How many users are happy with the new email platform that has been deployed? That all updates, that all feedbacks, that all CSATs can be gathered, can be controlled, and acted upon from the same environment. It also will help you in delivering compliances of the systems. That is up to 70 to 80% of the automation is based on the infrastructure support. That is where the key comes into play. Now, and I just request the users, any question, anything on any slide, please type it out in the window. At the end of the session, I would take up all those questions in the Q&A part of it and respond to it across. So that was the holistic view of the complete solution that we spoke of. uh, I will dive into the specific components of the solution here. And while we are talking, we'll be talking about all the functionality available into the chatbot. Now, how does a chatbot work? And here we are not talking about a standard chatbot. We are talking about a hybrid chatbot. And I will give you an example of what a hybrid chatbot is. We all have experienced usage of chatbot into our current or the future or the past activities that we have done, wherein we talk to a chatbot. The chatbot gives us standard responses. Based on the standard responses, the bot also understands whether we are getting our right answer or not. And in a situation where the bot feels that the user is not getting the right answer, it will transfer that communication to a live human service desk agent, and that agent can respond to the user directly. Once the user gets the feedback, gets the response from the live human service desk agent, the agent can further transfer the communication back to the bot to continue the discussion with the user. Now, why is this important here? First thing, with whatever automation that we do, and that is what the industry benchmarks speak of, that the maximum conversion is of 85% of the problems getting resolved with an automated chatbot based service desk. So there is still a scope for 15% improvement. And that 15% improvement is where the human agent starts playing up a task. So whatever calls that are not getting addressed by the chatbot, the human agent can take over it. So if you look at this slide, we are talking about the framework where we are saying that there's a complete control on the bot environment, bot's conversation by the human agent. The bot can do a auto segmentation. The bot can analyze, figure out whether the request is coming for is for an HR function or a IT function or an administrative function or a general request that is coming up. And it can auto segment it and give it to the right agent or right team where it is required. And when, as I gave the example, that the chatbot can transfer the request of the user to a live service desk agent, the service desk agent can move it back to the bot. The seamless handoff keeps happening, and the user is also notified with this. There's no disruption into user's environment. In the same window that he was talking to the bot, he starts talking to the agent. The agent is able to see the complete screen of the chat that the user and the chatbot had across. So this is how it moves across. I will show you some screens, some use cases that are there that will help you understand how this works. And just to take this slide up, a few key points of why the bot is important. It is a single point of contact for all your IT issues when it is IT bot, for all your HR issues when it's an HR bot. It can address all your queries, resolve issues, create the service request or tickets into the system, available consistently and response consistently. There is no uh, waiver into the response that they gave across. And if you look at the bot screen here on the right hand side, you will see how a IT bot is communicating. It says, "Hi, I'm an IT bot. How can I help you?" And below it, if you see those Outlook, system related, printer related, connected related, office related. Now, these are hot radio buttons based on the ticket volume that comes into the environment. A user can just click on it, understand what are the sub top called problems into it, or he has a facility to type his problem on his own and take help from the bot. This bot learns on its own. It has a power based architecture on it, which the ML uses it to learn across. Now, this is how the IT service bot looks like and how IT service bot works onto it. If I look at an HR bot, uh, here there are multiple screens of the HR bot, and I'll just take few minutes to explain on the screen. The first screen here on the extreme left, this screen is of a user doing his exit formalities. And today's scenario, the onboarding and exit formalities which are happening through remote, a bot will play a very critical function. Here it is saying, the HR employee or the HR team member has typed, what are the exit formalities pending for Joseph? Now from the database, it is just picking up and saying, Joseph, he has to submit his office assets, file the exit interview form, and attend the exit interview. These are the three steps pending. It becomes so easy for someone to track rather than going point by point and looking at what functions he has attended, what he did not do. The bot can give you new notifications. You know, on a service that I'm sitting, I'm working, the bot is active on my screen. I can get a pop-up saying that you have a new notification. This is the new solution that the company has deployed, or this is the new website that the company is launching. Take a look at it, give your feedback. There's a team huddle or there's a CEO connect at this hour at on this platform. You please connect to that. Now, this has few notifications that the HR bot can give. Here, if you see what is the training status of Jim Cooper, it is saying introduction completed, platform guide completed, platform handholding is pending. So someone is doing a self based training, and the bot has already bought it. While the bot is helping him to do the self based training, it is also keeping a record of what he has trained, what he has completed, and what is pending across. And on the extreme right, the screen says what are the latest figures on employee feedback survey. It can give, while the bot can take the feedback, bot can, on from the HR perspective, it can give this kind of things, that what are the categories, what is the feedback given across. Now, this is the kind of impact that a bot can do for HR, from an hire to retire, from a onboarding to an exit process. Everything can work on the bot. The bot has facility to accept files, upload files into the bot. I, as a if I'm joining new, and I can just click on the bot, start uploading my files, start uploading my forms or whatever, my certificates, the images of it, my PAN card, Aadhaar cards, images, and send it to the HR. The HR can start processing it in the back end. The bot will understand this new employee is uploading this file. It will start going into his bucket. The backend processing guy will start processing it, so it becomes easier. You don't have to do a physical copy. While you have been given your temporary access, you can start doing it, and then once that all processing happens, your permanent access is granted to you. Taking it further across, from this is the part of the HR function. How does it work in the marketing? In a marketing, if you can see these two screens here, it is saying, I want a new credit card for international use. The bot is saying that, okay, we have a perfect card for you, which is travel platinum card. This is the details. This much is the membership charge. These are the information. Can I know your name, please? He's saying Santosh Yadav. All right, Santosh, can you please provide me with your mobile number? Now the mobile number is given. Thank you, Santosh. You will receive a call from the customer support team. Now, either we can put it here and let the customer support team call him, or the bot can say that, oh, can you please upload your KYC? We will get back to you with the details. Take the basic information that is required to issue a credit card, take the KYC details, get the form online filled up in the same window, then process it across. So, it also has custom forms, and I'll show you that across. Now, here in the second screen, he's saying best 2 BHK apartment in this location in New York. These are the details available. Now, this was the query asked. The bot replied that this is one house at this value. You can explore it further. This is the another house, and you can see this small arrow here, which is pointing towards the right. He can scroll and find out more options available into that. So it becomes one single window to manage. He doesn't have to open a website, browse through the website. He can clearly, I don't have to go to a Magic Bricks or some website and start searching on my own. I can just type, and the AI engine in the bot will get me all those details. Taking it further, how does a customer support bot work? We spoke about IT support, and IT support is a part function of the customer support. Now, here in the customer support, someone is trying to book a appointment. Okay, he is saying that these are the two doctors that you can see if you have such a challenge across. Second, he's saying, I have lost my passport. I want to apply again. The bot is saying these are the forms and these are the declarations that you'll require to give. Once you get that across, you can request for a new passport. In the third function here, he's saying that, what is the accident insurance claim? I want to have an accident insurance claim. The bot is saying, sure, please upload the following: this file, this file, this file, this file, an FIR and copy of your driving license and vehicle registration details, and the repair and the other details across. He can just upload the form here and submit it. So as I gave you the example in the HR, I can upload my employee joining details. I can upload my experience details. So those things here also it works. So this is how the bot environment seamlessly work across any of the vertical support in an organization. That is where we call this bot as an omni-channel bot. The moving further to it is what, how does the bot do this? And when we spoke about the IT bot, I'll just move couple of slides behind, and we are seeing this top challenges in the environment, which is saying Outlook related problems, system related problems. What happens when someone clicks here? I will show you that details across. You know, right? I have spoken about this, so I'll skip this slide, come to this. Now, this is where the self-heal portal comes into the play. When someone clicks on, say, Outlook related problem and he says that I want to create a new PST, the chatbot will showcase him one exe file saying that please download and execute this file. Now that exe file comes from the backend repository of the knowledge base, which is also called as a self-heal portal or the self-heal tool. The moment the user downloads that exe file, execute that exe is a in-app guided exe. The exe file will tell the user, please close your Outlook, please give a name to the PST file, please share the path for where you want to save the PST file. Now, if there's a by default rule that all the PSTs have to go in D drive PST folder, it will not ask. But if there is a rule that the user can choose his folder of choice, the script will ask him for that. Once that inputs are received from the user, it will create the PST, it will open up the Outlook with the PST attached to it and ask the user that the PST is here, you can start transferring your data. In an alternative example, someone says, I want to install a printer. And I sit in my Bangalore office regularly and I've come to Mumbai office, or I've moved to another office in Bangalore, and at that floor I don't have the printer access. If I just have to say I want printer access, the bot will throw up a detail that asks you which floor are you sitting on, what division are you in, which locality or which zone are you in. Once that information is given, the bot will throw up a printer driver. I just have to execute it, the printer gets installed into my machine, and I can start using it. So that's where, zero touch support, what we talk about, that's how we are just not talking that service desk automation, we are also talking about the L1 level of support automation that will really work across for the users. Moving further to it, and there are many such, we have almost 300 to 400 such use cases solutions available into the self-service portal which the users can use. This all need customization for every environment to certain extent. That's all. Rest, 70% of the scripts are reusable, repeatable into any environments. Now talking about the proactive management, few things in the proactive management is, and as we say that, and I was just saying a few moments ago that the machine keeps on giving alerts which we don't understand. Those alerts are in form of the events and we can see it in event viewer, but not every user understands event viewer. Not everyone is able to decode the messages that comes out of the event viewer. We have an engine which will decode your machine's event viewer, create it into a sensible information, publish it on a dashboard, for a IT support engineer to view and take action onto your machines. What does that do? So what are we talking about? We are talking about the problems which are below the sea level. We see the 10% problems, but we don't see the challenges that are there and that are creating this 10% of problems which are popping up. Our whole idea is to address this. How do we address this across? We keep on monitoring critical services, taking the incident and problem data, focusing on the changes that has happened into the machine. So it can also capture if someone installed a new exe. Adobe Acrobat got an update, someone installed it, and after that installation Adobe is not opening up. He will say that my PDF reader is not working. The engineer will go and install the same version again, it will still not work. The engineer is confused that I'm installing the latest software, it is not working. Now, while these software, the user did a installation on his own, some DLL on the backend got corrupted, which an engineer will come to know after huge amount of troubleshooting. Here, I can get those insights immediately, and I can focus on that, and I can tell that when you installed this, this was the problem that came into the machine. We are just rolling back the version from whatever you have updated to the earlier stable version, and your Acrobat reader should start working fine. Now, as simple as that kind of an information to as complex as giving alerts on hard drive failures, giving alerts on challenges that are there in the environment, on the software that is being used. Someone has licenses of say Visio, but not using for last 6 months. The management can take a call of removing that licenses away from that user. So I'll just show you some specific dashboards here, which may give you some idea on what we are talking about. Look at this average boot duration. Now, none of the environments copy or capture this kind of intelligence of average boot duration of a machine. The software that we use, the tool that we use, helps us capture this kind of intelligence. You know, how much machines are ready with Windows 10 64-bit, how much are ready with Windows 32-bit. I can take a user satisfaction index survey and figure out how the user is satisfied. How are my endpoints getting performed? The user on his machine will get a pop-up like this, and he just has to click on one of the options, and that's it. The survey is done. It is not going to be time consuming. The user can snooze it and it will pop up again after the snooze period across. This is the kind of devices with issues. I can get a complete details of devices with issues. Wherein I'm saying memory, 2.3% of machines have memory issues, 0.02% of machines have blue screen problems, CPU problems at 6% machines, disk space problem at none. So this is the kind of intelligence that I get in my environment. And with this intelligence, the moment I see that this increasing from 2.3 to 2.6, that's why is that increasing? What is causing that? Is it caused by an application or is it caused by the Windows update that has been rolled out? That kind of intelligence also can be captured. And that's where it really helps you as an IT support partner or an IT operations team or an IT executive, a CIO or CXO would want to look at such kind of intelligent report into a system so that they can work around the solutions faster. They can have better uptime of the machines. So here we are trying to address the problem before they come up into the system across. Moving to the next slide. Just to summarize what I said across, focus is on MTTR reduction, better user satisfaction, improved device index performances, and touching on the SLA achievement because everything is related to the service levels that we want to achieve. I will move to the data center and the network automation and I will try to wind this up in next 5 minutes so that we can have a Q&A session. The data center automation, while I would want to speak more about it, but we'll see how we can do that. Problems in data center are many. First of the critical problem is doing the RCAs. Second is managing the data, what is growing so exponentially. Third is managing the standard IT landscape. And if whatever we do, every day the machines are up, the data center is working fine. But one problem or one wrong that has happened in the data center can wipe away all the rights that we have done. And if you look at how the impact versus frequency of the challenges are there, application failures are the largest problems, virus attacks. This the top corner, the top right corner is the challenge, and our agenda is what do we do with this. So if you look at manual errors, hardware, software, or infrastructure failures cause 93% of the IT outages. Everyone today in the IT industry is just trying to do this, taking the problems to low frequency, low impact. And to do this, we certainly need help of tools, some intelligence, and good amount of human resources. And how do we look at the P1 incidents? When we analyze the P1 incidents after doing the RCAs, we figure out that 80% of the P1 incidents fall either in a are a result of a change in the IT environment or a resource performance or consumption issue or an application health issue. Now, this is where it works across. And just to address this, similarly, what we do in the data center automation framework, the tool that helps you to analyze, discover your complete IT landscape, application discovery to your application topology mapping, so that you know which user is using what application, what is his feedback, what is his experience. Capture all the unstructured, structured data, system log, events, matrices, and alerts. Put them into a sensible data by doing event correlation, prioritizing the impact of those activities into the environment, using the advanced AI based analytics engine to filter, remove the noise, remove the duplicates out, and give the right alerts to the IT team to resolve. Understand the pattern, how this whole IT operations on the back end on the system environment is working. Derive the pattern with the ML. Focus on how to reduce that kind of tickets across, and based on the resolution that the users are or the engineers are giving to the systems, try to automate them using workflows and fix them automatically. Now that's the simple process that we take care of. And if I have to put it further more on the network side of it, it's a very simple thing. Same ways, but the focus is on signal weighing. So I should understand where the signals are coming from, what is the signal frequency, how much it is taking up or down, what is the resource clustering happening, what is the casualty analysis, because one port works fine, my that people on that port connected to that port are able to get the data. One port doesn't work fine, I am not able to get the data fine there. So the casualty analysis and the solution assembling is most critical here. Once I do this, what do I get? I get a single pane of command for running my IT operations, proactively manage my operations, and effectively reduce 40% of incidents coming into the environment, 60% of reduction into the MTTR, and 50% of reduction into the IT operations cost, because now I am able to resolve problems faster, address problems faster, do a RCA more quicker, more agile way across. I will just move to the few use cases that where we can look at automated workload management, automated cost, cloud cost management, automated event management, and AI of platform management. This are our focus area when it comes to the AI ops use case using the data center operations tool. So this, when we are talking about this, we are talking from the application to the physical hardware to the virtual servers to the physical servers to the networks IO to the disk IO storages, backups, workloads, batch processing, con jobs, managing and monitoring everything, and capturing alerts and capturing events from them and optimizing them to deliver the right services across.
Say hi, this is Tanzim here from Magnasoft.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, so already we have our own systems. Like if I go for the help desk system, we have our
Right.
Zoho help desk system, which has been used from long time,
Okay.
and we have HR applications on Zoho. So
Perfect.
how you to integrate this, like the services? Are these a separate application you're going to integrate, or you want to remove that and come up with your own IT services, CMS IT
Very.
services?
Thank you for asking that question, first of all. And the idea is we are not replacing any of the existing systems. The chatbot will get integrated with the Manage Engine Service Desk Plus tool. That is the tool I believe you are using, right? It gets integrated with it through an API. The APIs will help the chatbot to log a call onto the Manage Engine platform, the Zoho platform. The same kind of an API based integration will happen with the HR platform for it to communicate. So we are just adding up a communication channel via the bot. We are adding up resolution solutions via the self-heal. We are not trying to replace your ticketing system or your HR system at all. They will sit over and above them, help those employees to get better response and better activities via the bot. Hope I am able to answer your question.
Yeah, that's fine because I can see that there is an inbuilt tool, Zoho bot. I think inbuilt tool is there with Zoho as well.
Yeah, so Zoho bot is there again, but then
Zoho bot.
you and very good that you said if there's a bot available. Yes, there's a bot available, but that bot only will work with Zoho. Today you might have a Zoho service desk tool and you might be using Synergy's HR system or a Ramco HR system. So then you'll have two different bots running in the environment. We are talking about one unified bot which can take care of all your IT, HR, administrative functions, everything across.
Great. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Thank you. You can also reach out to them alternatively if you want to have a demonstration or a more detailed understanding of the offerings that we are talking about. We will be happy to do a proper demonstration of the tool to show you the proof of the pudding, how it works. Because in automation, in all those tools and technologies, seeing is believing. You unless and until you see it, unless and until you're able to relate to it, it will not be much of a thought provoking in your environment. So you can reach out to your CMS IT representatives for a demo or a discussion further.
Hi, this is Raghavendra from
Hi.
Equalize ASEAN.
Yeah, Raghav.
Do you have any case study on what is the ROI for this?
Yes, we do have.
Okay.
We can share those details with you, Raghavendra. On you are talking about the workplace automation or the data center, because we have ROIs calculations and parameter defined on both. How do we do that across? So your
Yeah, you
your
can
question was.
share us both, so it will be helpful to see how it is helped other organizations and all.
Yes. So I'll just give you a simple example of one of the cases. Like and it's not an ROI pure play example, but how we do the savings into the environment. Hard drive failures has been a prominent problem in all corporates. And then post the hard drive problem, the data recovery is another challenge. The user agony is third. Now, in a scenario where I tell you your hard drive is giving smart error from last 5 days continuously, and there is a chances of failure in next 3 days, please take backup. The IT team will give you a spare hard drive to take your backup, and will replace your hard drive of your laptop in next 2 days time, so that your downtime doesn't occur. I'm giving user a elated response, proactively reaching out to him, saving my cost of hard drive because hard drive has to be replaced any which ways. But I'm saving the cost of the hard drive repairs or the data recovery. All those challenges are getting addressed at one shot. So there is lot of uh, you know calculated or measured and unmeasured benefit that come across. So we have a structured analysis of that. We will share that with you. I will ask my team to get in touch with you and share that out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I thank you all for your time and patientful listening across. Please feel free to reach out to any one of us at CMS IT Services. Thank you so much.
Thank you.